Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you are all doing incredible. Super excited to have this conversation today with a rock star accountant and advisor, uh, Leslie Hickerson, joining us from up north, right? Leslie, really excited about just the amazing transformation you've made over the several years of working together. I think we started in January 2022, I believe. Is that
Yeah,
right?
correct. Yeah.
But yeah, and you're out of where are you out of in Canada?
I live in the beautiful Rocky Mountains of British Columbia in a small ski town called Fernie, British Columbia.
That
So,
sounds beautiful.
yeah, it is. It's gorgeous.
What do you like to do up there for fun?
Mountain bike. And then I have a cabin, cottage in the woods, about a half-hour drive away.
Oh,
So when
that's
I'm annoyed by the whopping population of 5,000 people, I go to a population of next to nothing.
that's incredible. Sometimes you need that alone time, right? Like that space and
Every
distance from
weekend.
screens and things like that, right?
Yeah. And
Very
there's no
cool.
internet, no power, no nothing. So
Yeah. All right, Miss Outdoors. So let me uh so we started off in January of 22, right?
yes.
Do you
Yeah.
recall where you were at, like in what stage of business you were in at that point? Like tell us a little bit about maybe where you were at that stage and maybe some of the problems that you were going through that led to us working together.
Yeah, so I've been a bookkeeper for a very long time. I landed in it. I was taking full accounting courses. My goal was to become a CPA, but meantime, I was plugging away at accounting courses and working in bookkeeping. So my knowledge was more than just a bookkeeper, enough to do advisory, but I had no confidence in that. And I knew I needed to change, and I didn't know how. I was also leaning into legal accounting because I landed in it by accident and found another revenue stream taking law firms out of their desktop legacy programs and bringing them into the cloud. But again, I didn't know how that worked. And I signed up, and literally 10 days later, a proposal showed up randomly, unsolicited. And I was like, what do I do, Charlie? What the heck do I do with this?
Right. And this was like, so this is, guys, Leslie, as we'll see, works with law firms extensively, correct? And
In North America.
in
So,
North America, right? Not just
yeah,
Canada.
not just Canada. I've got California clients right now too.
Right.
So,
Amazing. So what was, um, I lost my train of thought there. Sorry.
that's why for
Uh,
me, the big thing was bookkeeping is limiting. There's a limit of what people will accept as a price.
mhm.
No matter what value, they never really understand the value. They just believe your data entry.
Mhm.
I can bring a lot more than data entry. And truthfully, bookkeeping is, I'm past it. I'm bored of it. I don't ever want to do it, but I didn't know how to move out of it. So,
Interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of people that may see this that that are maybe more in the debits and credits than they want to be, So I think this will be really applicable. So we started working and very quickly it was a request for proposal that came in from a law firm, basically, right?
mhm,
And
yeah,
you'd never done what were they looking for help with?
they needed a consultant, a trained consultant. I'm a licensed consultant with this company. I don't work for them, but I consult.
Right.
Um, and it was a proposal. It happened to be a law firm with an office in my hometown. They had 5 locations, so they actually were local. They just didn't know about me.
Mhm.
Um, and I phoned the people, my contact, to even ask what to bid because I didn't know what to bid with for it. What's it worth?
Mhm.
So I went from asking a bookkeeping price, which 60 to 70 an hour was high. I was at the high end
Mhm.
to quoting $100 an hour. Oh my gosh, $100 an hour, only to find out that the going rate was at that time 150 and I underbid.
Mhm.
So, but so it turned into a $10,000 gig that I got paid 10,000 for it.
That's incredible. What a massive difference from maybe where you were starting from with that with the
And
bookkeeping work.
just so people know, this is a very compressed timeline. This is 6 to 8 weeks of work. It's
Mm-hmm.
100 hours of work is what it worked. It actually was about 110, but because I'd quoted that ceiling, I had
Hmm.
to cut back a little bit.
Got it. Okay.
Mm.
I recall back in 2022 when we did this that we had some back and forth about what the price. Do you recall that? And
Mm.
do you remember kind of how that conversation went in terms of how we came up with?
Well, it was the big part of it is what do I even do with a proposal? Do I go there? You said this is what you do. You phone. You make a hard, just call the guy. And I'm like, call? I don't know. And I called him. I asked him what his budget was, and I threw a budget at them.
Hmm.
He goes, we don't really have a budget. And I said, well, I'm seeing it coming in around 10. Okay. And he said, yeah, that sounds good. Knowing I left money on the table, but at the time that was an astonishing amount.
Yeah.
Um, but I didn't even know how to approach how do you write a proposal? How do you just here's a contact? Do I just email back and go, I don't know what I'm doing, don't pick me?
No, and I'm sure you had some maybe this was like your first software implementation and
It
engagement.
was.
So you probably had some fear about imposter syndrome or things like that, or the confidence wasn't a 10 out of 10 potentially with your first engagement. No, never.
No, and actually I figure in retrospect, I they paid me to learn how to do a conversion because I didn't know what I was up to. And even then, from then to now, everyone I do, I learn.
Right.
But I figured they paid me $10,000 to learn what I was doing.
Hmm.
So
Learn the best way to learn is by doing, right? And if you can get heck yeah. Uh, I want to talk about that call, that pick up the phone and call thing. So yeah, I think we can really be shy about that sometimes, huh? When it comes to moving things forward. So what happened here? The law firm reached out with a request for proposal or an email,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Um,
yes.
and then we had a conversation around that about what to do. What do I do? And um, you know, thinking back a couple years ago, I believe what I would have said around is, or what I said was around, hey, I want you to find out a little bit more about what they're specifically looking for in terms of their challenges and their goals,
Yes.
in terms of, what they're looking for. So that way you can present your proposal and offer better,
Hmm.
more targeted towards what they need. Um, and the best way, the fastest path, guys, um, to getting in touch with somebody is just picking up the phone, especially when someone's reaching out for help, like someone is coming to you with a need.
Yeah.
Um, the fastest path is to pick up the phone and dial and say, hey, I know that you reached out looking for help. I wanted to find out a little bit more about that. Is this a good time?
Yeah.
Um, and then, of course, yeah, you can follow up with written correspondence or other things after that. But and I
Mhm.
know that could be uncomfortable, right? Getting out of your comfort zone a little bit, picking up that phone and dialing.
It's funny because me, once they answer, my personality can come out.
Mhm.
By this, it doesn't. I'm very formal.
Right.
And I made a connection because he happened to be Scottish. I have family from where he's from. We connected quickly, right? And I know his boss, the owner, because his office started out here.
Mhm.
Anyway, there was some random connections. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was scary. Truthfully, it was terrifying. But I actually am the kind of person, if I don't know what if I haven't got a clue what I'm doing, I do better. If I don't have an outline of what's coming and nobody's laid the path for me. And actually, a lot of the tools I developed through that, I have kept. I would say all of them I've kept and just expanded. I look back at the stuff I developed during that one and the spreadsheets and I use them now. I just now enhance.
Right.
So.
You learn while getting paid, right? And you build out the system.
Bingo.
Yeah. How did that feel? How where were your emotions at? How did you feel when you sent out that initial that proposal, that
Well,
offer?
they're gonna say no, of course.
Yeah.
They're not gonna accept me. I've never done this before, and but I knew who my competition was, and she wasn't gonna bid on it. So it was me. And because I was local, that meant I could actually go to their offices, and that was my choice.
Mhm.
Um, with the initial call, they wanted to do in person, and I consulted with you. It's like, do I charge for that? Do I charge for my travel to go to the initial call? And I put a price on it. I said, if I come over to do that, it's $200 for my travel time, or we can do it by Zoom. And we did it by Zoom.
Mhm. Look at that.
We
That's
just
super, that's interesting, right?
scary. And
Yeah.
then they did I did the proposal. They asked, I had a list of questions that I developed that I'd sent in advance. So I knew that I think we developed the pain point list.
Mhm.
They answered, so I knew what the issues were from working with other law firms, but I wanted to hear there. And my question I always ask is, if I could wave a magic wand, what three things would you want me to fix with your software right now? So
Mhm.
then I knew the biggies.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, I'm very and um, I
Yeah.
had the call. It was very intense. Lawyers can be incredibly intense.
Sure. Yeah.
And they were going to get back to me. There was four on the call, three lawyers and the accountant. And 4 hours later, I got a yes,
Fantastic.
blew
Wow.
my socks off.
I
So
remember we celebrated quite a bit. Uh, that was
yeah,
the biggest engagement you have had ever closed, I believe.
that was the first one, and it was monstrous. And it was actually the biggest one I've done to date because it was 47 users with four separate locations plus the head office, like four branches and
Mhm.
the head office,
Right.
which I traveled to all of them to train.
Right. So biggest in scope, we'd say for sure.
Yeah, so it's that eat the frog thing. Pick the biggest and the nastiest first. It can only get better.
Mhm.
So
And I love the question that you asked the lawyers about what are your three biggest, challenges, or your three biggest things that you're looking for the software to do for you,
yeah.
because it's very, very often when we're presenting what we're going to do for our services, whether it's accounting or taxes or consulting or advisory, we're kind of in love with we're in love with what we do so much, right? So I think I want to try to communicate this the best way that I can, but we tend to say we're going to do all these incredible things for you, write this long laundry list of things
Yeah.
and deliverables and support. But that can be very overwhelming for the client, and it can actually lead to objections where they say, "Oh, I don't need point 2A, point 3C, and point 4D, so this doesn't make sense for me." Whereas you were
Mhm.
able to ask that question and get really crystal clear on what matters to that prospect, and then you can present that in a very powerful way, whether it's in written form or in a meeting in presenting. So,
Yeah.
kudos to you, and
Yeah.
I think that's a really powerful thing to take away.
Yeah. And it helps me going forward because every time I ask that of a firm, it goes into my toolkit of what are the most likely common issues that law firms encounter. So I can kind of ask them, hey, are you experiencing XYZ? And if not, they're guaranteed to have hit on one of them. So
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah. So you brought that one on and finished that in a I don't know how long did that run?
it started. It was probably completely out of the way by April of that year because they went live, or maybe May. Yeah, it was big. It was big.
And just how did going through that engagement help your mindset, your confidence around everything, around delivering this, around doing this, around pricing?
Um, it was a very unique process because it was It's gone down in the annals as being one of the most complicated ones they've ever done because something came up close to the end that almost shut the deal.
Mm,
And it wasn't anything I did, it was something that was actually missed in the sales call from the software company. So it was a real close thing that I might have lost everything.
yeah.
Um, because I didn't know about deposits or anything, and I'm still not great at that. But I learned, I stayed calm. They were very good with me. Soluno, oh sorry, the company, it's okay to say their name. Um, was incredibly supportive, was involved with the calls. At one point, even the owners were involved.
Mm,
Um, but what was really interesting is when it was all said and done, I'd worked so hard and I'm really good at calming people down and troubleshooting. But even in this one, it was now I would be fine. Then I didn't have the answers that were necessary. Now I'd be fine.
right.
I I've got enough in under my belt.
Hmm.
They chose to give me a commission on the sale on top of it, which they didn't have to because I didn't find the clients. So not only did I earn the 10,000, I got a $9,500 commission on top of it.
Amazing.
So
Incredible.
because I had worked so hard on the file, I didn't know that was even a thing. So basically I got about 19,000. Well, after tax, I probably got 15,000 on that
That's
job.
incredible. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's a hell of a first win out the gate, like a couple of weeks into working together. And
And then
obviously,
I didn't get one for like a year.
yeah,
So,
then we had then like most of your leads are coming inbound, which is something that we're working through now.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but that is like right out of the gate, having that opportunity come up and being able to knock that down and all the confidence that you build along that way is
Yeah.
insane. Um, how did you navigate that situation to like how did you maybe calm down, for lack of a better term, the client?
I'm I always ask them, let me, I will reach out, I will help, I will resolve this. Let me make some phone calls. Let me, you know, I will help. I will fit, I'm not going to just blame anybody. I'm quite happy to reach in. And because they were local-ish, I was able to be in the offices.
Hmm.
Um, in holding the hands of and when I did the training I was looking over the shoulders kind of thing, and I'm a really good teacher like that. I can be patient and gentle and encouraging. I never judge. So that's the way my personality is. And actually the head guy, he pointed out what the issue was. He goes, so when you do the next one, make sure you find out if they need this because this is a big thing. Like he knew it wasn't anything to do with me,
Right.
and
Yeah.
he gave me that advice.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Good. Yeah.
Um,
So you're empathetic, being understanding and compassionate for the client seems like that really helped.
and I enjoy doing that. I've done that in other parts of my life where troubleshooting is I'm the middle child, so I'm the troubleshooter. I'm the calm water person. Um,
Yeah. We talk about the payment thing for a little bit of it, like about the deposit, because you said about the deposit, like that's something that we're working on, but that,
I've
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I've had a handful of them. In one of them, I did it. I did require a deposit to reserve that spot. So in the wording of it, I've put, I only work with two at a time. I don't take on any more than two software conversions per month. So in order to reserve that slot, I need a deposit. I did it once and it worked, and I've not done it again, and I need to not be afraid of that.
I think I used to be,
We'll get that figured out.
that used to be something that that sparked some discomfort with me too. But also you don't want to have a situation where you are doing 10,000, 20,000 worth of work as
We're
a
not getting paid.
receivable, which is something that we're gonna we're working through, right? Is that
Yes.
because that's we don't want that risk on profitability.
Well, and the funny thing is, law firms work with retainers. I
Yeah,
should just get over myself.
and that's the best thing to have in your back pocket if that objection ever comes up, is you have the perfect objection handler right there. Like I totally hear you. Leslie, let me ask you this, just curious, like do you usually require a retainer in your service line, right? Now we got to be careful who we're talking to, making sure maybe doing some homework and making sure that they do right before you say
They
that.
all do. Law firms all do. That's common.
Yeah.
Anybody who deals in certain types of law.
Yeah, depending on the law, right? Because I think PI attorneys and things like that, some of them are like pay when paid, that kind like, but I could be wrong. This
The
is my area of expertise, by the way. So I haven't been in that much
the
trouble, guys.
so because in Canada all law firms are accrual, in the
Okay.
States all their law firms are cash.
Okay. Interesting.
So because everything's accrual up here,
Mhm.
if it's anything family law, criminal law,
Sure.
anything that requires court, they take retainers,
Okay.
period.
Got it. Yeah.
So
So that's like
yeah.
that's one of the objection handlers I would probably use if that
Yeah.
comes up, if a concern comes up around that.
Mhm.
They should, I think, mostly be understanding. And you said you've taken one and it wasn't an issue. So, um,
No,
yeah, okay, we'll
that's
work.
just a me thing.
Yeah, so we're working through that, but let's fast forward. So, you were with us for we worked through for most of 2022, I'd say. I'm not sure
Yeah.
exactly when you
Yeah.
went off, and then it's been a little while, and we just reconnected, and you've come
Mhm.
back on board in 24.
Mhm.
It's been so amazing to have you back in, and you've only been with us for about a month now, a few
Yes, I
short
think
weeks.
so. A couple weeks.
Yeah. And so we're definitely just getting into
Yeah.
some things um in terms of presenting the offer more powerfully, the sales process of it and lead generation. So
Yes.
um I guess maybe I'll ask you, like, in your mind, what was the key reason that you came back last month?
I have been through a lot in a year and a half, personally and stuff, a lot of life stuff.
Mhm.
I have gone from I can never give up bookkeeping or I'll starve in retirement to I never want to do bookkeeping compliance work ever again. I want to focus on this stream. I've also been approached to start a bookkeeping firm where I would be the advisory role. We're still negotiating that, but for these, I've offshored. I did offshore, it didn't work out. One of my files, so I've got a mentor underneath me, and she's taking these files for the bookkeeping side of it so that I can focus on these. Um, the ones I took in 2023, I did one more in 2022, a little one. And in that one I went up to 150 an hour.
Oh my goodness.
And I know 50% pay raise. And then I went in 2023, end of 23, I took one on same thing. I still was hesitant to charge the 175, which was the going rate. So I charged them 150. Again, they had three different businesses. It worked well. There wasn't really many issues on that one. And then I picked up I did three in a row. So I had one in November, December, one in February, March, and one in March, April. Each one of them I increased my rate. So
Mhm. That's
um
amazing.
so
Yeah.
I went up to 175 an hour. The ones that I quoted recently, I am at 195. I went to a conference in May where there was a bunch of us consultants with now the new parent company down in Denver, and I've just flat out asked, what are you guys charging? And 195 up to 225. And I'm like, I keep getting raises.
Yeah, there
So
we go.
now it's 195.
Mhm. And this is Canadian, I believe, right? I just want
Yeah. My
to.
US client, I charge him 200 um in Canadian though.
Gotcha.
He was 250 because
Okay.
it'll convert down to that kind of
Got it.
thing.
Awesome.
He's now a flat rate though, so 250 a month, and it takes me generally about 45 minutes to do his work.
Awesome.
So
That's nice. There you go. Great.
I know. But
Uh,
I have a scope of service with him. So anything outside of it is 200 an hour on top.
yeah.
So
That's smart, right? You have that the boundary set on the client deliverable.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about this past month. What's happened? What
So I joined up and I call you now our coach Horseshoe. because within 2 weeks, I had um, two come to me. Uh, One of them was very urgent. I spoke with them, I had a second meeting. They're a bit wishy-washy. Again, these are referrals right from the software company,
Right.
which is
Invaluable.
fine. So they're already getting the rubber stamp that Leslie is a certified consultant and can help you. Um, but I am working on three small ones, two that I found, one, yeah, two I found, and one other one. So I'm actually working on five files at the moment, three little
Uh,
ones, one big one, and one I'm hoping I'm going to sign tomorrow. Um, so this one I spoke with, we had the second meeting. Charlie, you helped me with that too. They pushed their contract from October 1st to November 1st. I
mhm.
sent and barely hit send, and I got an email request at the same time for an urgent one. Phoned her 15 minutes later, had set another call, did it the right way, set another call for the next day. We went through it all, sent the proposal. It was signed that day. I'm already started on that one. Each of those should come in around 11,000 to 12,000 each
Both came and both were worked through in a day, essentially.
in a day. And because I just sent the proposal to one, I just changed the wording and shipped it to the next one. And that
That's
one was signed the day of.
amazing.
So,
I know you mentioned that Charlie helped me with this. I want to get into the weeds of that a little bit. Like, what happened? Like, tell me. Let's break down what that means. Uh,
well, when they come in and I'm unsure about how do I contact, especially when contacts me, it's like this is urgent. Oh my God, what do I do? And I'll go, what do I do? Do I
yeah,
phone? Do I email? What's the best approach?
you got an email that came in saying, "Hey, here's a some this person's interested. They are switching over to the software. They need a consultant.
Mhm.
Uh, good luck."
Yeah, and I did the
Yeah.
call on the first one. Now I know what I should have done, but I think I overwhelmed her at first because I was showing her the entire laundry list or
Yeah.
explaining the entire laundry list, and I didn't have the two decision makers in the room. So the
Right.
second call helped, and I'm going to follow up with them probably within the hour.
Right. Yep.
And the other one, she was, and that was the first question I asked her, are you the decision maker? And she said yes, because she consulted the firm. And she goes, they've thrown it at me, so I'm the decision maker. And because she was a controller, I can speak language that is easier for them to get
Right.
rather than an office manager. They don't, if I can get the accounting person in the room, I can sell it. So,
I know because we're talking about two deals at once, and I know you took what we worked on together in that first deal and immediately implemented it into the second deal, which is amazing. And that's when I
yeah,
know someone's a rock star student or a rock star client when we're giving you active feedback and you're immediately implementing it into the next deal. That's amazing. I want to silo these because if we're gonna, I don't just to keep it a little more organized.
absolutely.
So with the first one that came in, you you got an email from them and you said like Charlie, what do I do here, right? And I think you had even called into them before you reached out to, I don't remember, right? You had that conversation first.
I did. I had the referral. So I was communicating with that person going, should I just call? What do you think? And he
Right.
said, yes, call. So I phoned.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
During the discussion, we discussed what I needed in that. And then the follow-up email came back. Like my question to you was I had a bit of a pricing um concern. Ooh, this is going to be expensive, which
Mhm.
I didn't touch because yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be.
So we
Guess what?
talked, yeah. So we said what essentially you called into them on this initial conversation and you spoke to a ops manager, I believe it was,
Yes, she's the
right?
ops manager.
The ops manager, and you essentially ran the off of a kind of a not a, it's not a cold call by any means, but it was an unscheduled call, right? So you called
Correct.
in and said that I know that you're looking for help on this. You can do you mind if I ask some questions to find out more? And you went into basically the sales process and the discovery process. Um, what I mentioned to Leslie is just going forward, we really want to have um, a, a specific time and meeting set for that generally so that we can, number one, ensure that the decision makers are present. And number two, that can eliminate some things like people saying, I have to get off the phone or I have to go, or, you don't get to go through that sales process versus you scheduling a set time where you can get through the process that you want to get through, right? Overall, it worked. It worked out great. It sounds like it's this one's going to be just fine. Um, but um, yeah, so that was one thing that we took away, and then also the sending the proposal and getting a pricing objection. And I think this would be one to talk. I'll just, openly talk about that. When we do that discovery and then we send a proposal over with just the, here's what you get, here's the price.
Yeah.
Um, most people will generally will run right to that price point and look at the price, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people do that. And the other thing I would say is a piece of paper can't sell your service as well as you can actually going through the benefits and how that's specifically going to help them in their firm and
Right.
verbally. So there are times where a proposal can make sense and sending it in writing can make sense depending on your business model. But we want to look at that kind of opportunity cost of is it worth the time to have those structured meetings where I can really present my value powerfully, which really means also, Leslie, as you are better able to present your value, you're able to raise your prices as well. So,
Yes.
um, so that was an optimization that we talked about. But overall, all that aside, I'm fairly confident that one's going to close in the next 24 hours or so. And
Yeah.
then the other, and then the and that's what it sounds like based on your end, right?
Yeah.
And then the
She's got a bit of a history of being overwhelmed and not getting to it. So
knock on wood here. So, and then and then the other one is basically you implemented some of the things that we spoke on about making sure the decision makers were present.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I had the referrals and yeah, we walked through it and she was just like, let's do it. I was asked to choose and I choose Leslie, she told them. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, absolutely. That was a great day when I got that. Like it was a great day when you told me, oh, I got the first thing went through, and then I got an email from Leslie like, oh, another one just came in, and this one's closing, and it was just a great day.
I know it's like all these. So if assuming this one closes, actually I'm full until December 1st now for a large conversion. I can pick up little ones, but
Right.
I only do one. When I say a large one, usually about 20 lawyers and staff in total kind of thing. Because there's enough training and balls in the airs that they need more time. Little ones I can kind of fit in between.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Like we said, we're working towards a big one and a small one, and maybe a little bit more, but we'll see as we start to build things out. But
yeah,
we're off to a really good start, more than a
I
good start,
know.
I'd say.
I know. Horseshoe Charlie.
Horseshoe Charlie, I love that. What are one or two golden nuggets that come to mind for you, or takeaways, or things that you've maybe implemented into your business from what we've worked on?
Even just more recently, well, from the original time way back when we developed tools where I had a kind of a brochure and stuff, and it helped me present, asking questions, fine-tuning, finding pain points. That's carried forward. More recently, it'll be this process of are all the people in the room? I never knew that one before. Setting up the call, taking the deposit. And then the next thing that we'll work on together is going to be getting me to bill more frequently because I'm one of those that I can say the amount, but then actually doing that
Yeah,
terrifies me.
I
And I
remember
need to
that.
get over that.
I think I remember back then about having to tell you you just hit the dang button, send the
I
email.
know it. And
Or
it's still,
yeah.
the bill's so big.
But you know what solves that problem is a retainer.
I
You
know.
know, so. And that'll also eliminate any stress in terms of them, any disputes or any complaints, like any,
Yeah.
unwillingness on or frustration about having a big invoice. So,
Yeah, because then their skin's in the game too, right? They've actually
yep,
pre-spent. So yes, I will do that.
it will be a win-win for everybody because no, I'm sure the law firm would rather have the retainer. Most of them would like the retainer probably more than a big lump sum bill at the end anyway. Um,
Hmm. I
so
think so.
yeah. Um, so let's see what else is um where are we going from here?
So my goal is to figure out how to fill the pipeline. If so, just for those that just with my specific niche and the companies that I work with, their their company that bought them, their conversions are bigger. It's a bigger thing, and it's because it's US based. And when I told them what I usually charge, they're like, "Why do you guys? Why are you guys paid so badly?" A conversion for those can start at 30 or 50,000.
Right.
It's a bigger process. Um, and I want to get in on that. I'm half trained. I just haven't had time to finish. I've got connections. Um, I want those because there's also residual commission income in those. So for even the ones I've found, I have ongoing, as long as they have a subscription, I get 20% annually of their subscription. And with this other company, the more you do, the higher the percentage you get.
Mhm.
So I, yeah, I want that. And then the bookkeeping, and
Mhm.
even if this company takes off, I'm only going to be advisory. I'm not data entering. I'll
Right.
do the overlooking and then the accountant will sign off.
Right.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
um,
That's amazing. I see that for you as the big opportunity here is being able to move up in the software world of what we're implementing to
yeah.
something where you're bringing in 30 to $50,000 engagements. And it's actually, I think, is going to be easier to market towards that software specifically because it solves higher level pain points for the business owners, and you'll be able to communicate that and get more intrigue and interest um, probably for that software. So I think
Yeah,
from
it's firm wide, not just back office. The accounting stuff is considered back office.
right,
This is front office and back office all in one.
yeah,
Um,
yep. So I think that will be easier from a messaging and lead generation standpoint in terms of solving those just the higher level, more pressing pain points, not just in the accounting silo, but firm wide. So
and
um,
there are thousands and thousands and thousands of law firms. So
right.
the market is there. I just have to figure out how to tap it.
Yeah, amazing. We're diving into that now, and I'm excited. I'm excited for you. You've already got wins out of the gate. We're just getting started.
I know.
Um, I'm sure we'll do another one of these, but I did
Yes.
want to make sure we got there. Um, what would you say? Who do you think would be a good fit for somebody to work with us?
Um, I would say because my background is bookkeeping, if you're if you're at a stage in your bookkeeping career where you're bored out of your eyeballs with it and you can do advisory, you always do it, you're giving it away. Um, you need to get in here and get some assistance to get out of that because it's a mindset and I had to take a journey to get there out of that mindset where I could never give up bookkeeping. How will I survive? And it's like, I'm fine. Um, so if you're done with being a bookkeeper and you're already providing these types of services, come on in and let's figure out how to get out of that small mindset and let's, grow and get out of it. It's terrifying.
Mhm.
Our comfort zone is there for a reason.
Yeah.
And leaving the comfort zone, for
Uh,
me, I'm fortunate. It is not the sole source of income, and I don't have a mortgage and I don't have debts. I own things, so I'm not desperate, but I'm hungry.
and that
So
that I attribute a lot of that to your success, by the way, Leslie. It's been the
yeah.
will. Even if you're somebody, by the way, that doesn't feel like maybe they're ready for advisory, I would say message me or reach out anyway to me because I do hear a lot of conversations from people that are doing advisory and they don't know that they're doing it, you know? So
Yeah.
I would even nudge if you think you are looking for something different, to stretch and reach out anyway. Um, what we're
Yeah.
doing here, Leslie, really, and you're a great example of this. It's not strategies and tactics and how to, like, yeah, that's some of it, but you've made great identity level transformative change, right? You've changed as a business owner,
Yeah. And I incorporated because now I have a cousin that's a fancy schmancy lawyer, and he goes, "You're dealing with lawyers, you have to incorporate now." I was like, okay, I will. Um, and that was a big change, as to being a firm, not a sole prop.
right?
Um, Terrifying because now I have to do those year ends, and it's like, oh crap, I've only ever done these in school. Let's see how I do. Um,
You have a figure it out attitude. You hear that? Like, oh, let's see how I do. Like that's
and
huge.
I love software. I love coding. I was in software originally, and then my own imposter syndrome
Yeah.
dropped out. So that stuff, if I haven't learned it yet, I just have to learn it. And if I can't learn it, I'll find somebody that can help me.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the attitude. That's that attitude that, a lot that is a big attribute to why you've been able to get to where you've gotten to, why you're bringing in these clients now. It's the we'll figure it out attitude that I'm capable of figuring it out. I have resources, I have team, I have community around me. And
yeah.
yeah, that's massive.
My biggest problem is I am in my own way too many times. I'm improving, but I most definitely, the roadblocks are self-imposed. Mm.
Yeah. Well, do you mind if I dive a little bit on that? Like how so?
I am I really worth 195 an hour? Are they going to pay me 195 an hour? Can I ask 225 an hour? No. Really? Am I an expert? And it's like, in this, I actually am. I'm not 100%. I'm sure there's others that are better, but I don't know. I do my darndest. I learn every time I grow. For bookkeeping, it's very limited what you can ask.
Hmm.
I've got a guy who wants me to look at his books, and I just flat out said I need $500 before I even get out of bed and turn my computer on.
Hmm.
And he sent me his stuff. We're meeting next week, and I'm not sitting down without 500 in my bank account before I even open his QBO file
Right.
because I don't
Yeah.
even want it. I don't even want his file. So if you want me to look at it, you're gonna pay. And
Right.
then I'm gonna give it to my bookkeeper.
Yeah.
So
Well, look at now you have the opportunity cost to look at too. It's like, yes, you want to have a good lifestyle, but also
yeah.
when your engagements are worth 30,000 to 50,000, is that $500 file, it needs to be high for you to because that anytime you're not working on sourcing those deals or bringing
I
that work,
know.
you know.
That's why I've got a junior and I'm training her. I had a call with her yesterday. I know how much I need to give her so she can quit her data entry job. So it's like, cool. She's hungry. She's really hungry. So um yeah, I'm figuring out these things. Even if I get bookkeeping clients, I don't want to do them. Here you go.
Right.
Um
You're delegating, we're getting into the delegation CEO mode and yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's been incredible to see the progress that you've made, the incredible progress and the transformation you've made over the past couple years. Still think that you're at the tip of the iceberg and you're maintaining that attitude of, yes, you have your ups and downs of like, you may some days our confidence is higher than others. And that goes
Yeah.
for me, that goes for everybody. But you're going to get comfortable at 175, then 195, then 300. Like that'll just, the rates are
Yeah.
going to increase as you build confidence and competence and all that.
Each one I do
Yep.
adds to my knowledge. And the next one, right now I'm in the process of trying to write out checklists. So I have the checklists in place so that I don't even have to think on a lot of these. So
Amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So and
Leslie,
I'm not on my own. They help me. So it's brilliant. Thank you.
yeah. Well, I'm so happy about all the progress that you've made, and I'm excited to get into more of the lead generation and sourcing more of these
Mhm.
opportunities and that over the next couple months and beyond. But I appreciate you for coming on here. Thanks so much, and congrats on
Thank you.
your success. Make
Yeah.
sure you celebrate. Keep me posted on that deal that's coming through here today.
I
Right?
shall. I
Okay.
shall.
And
Okay.
all right, we'll see you guys next time. All right, see you guys.
Thank you.